Sometimes, guys, they're very good at they're very good at language. They're very good at maneuvering their words. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is shullamiteakua. If you're a first time watching or first time subscriber, welcome. We're becoming over here. We're becoming the women that we've always wanted to be and the women that God has created us to be. If you are a returning subscriber, hey girl, hey. What have you done since last time to become the woman that you've always wanted to be? Okay, guys. So, if you're interested in what today's video is all about, stay tuned. We're gonna get into today's video, and I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I'm nervous to talk about this. I don't even know why. I really shouldn't, because everything happens for a reason, and our past is what defines us and makes. Well, I wouldn't say our past defines us, but our past plays a pivotal point in the person that we are in our present. So anything I'm going to talk about, I don't regret it. It happened. God used it. God taught me. And because of that situation, this situation really helped propel my relationship with the Lord. So for that, I'll always be grateful for it, because God uses all things for our good. Because what does the word say? All things work good. All things work for the good of those who love and are called according to His purpose. And I'm called according to His purpose as I'm becoming this woman, yeah. And this is one of the things that has really helped me to become who I am. So today's video is about how a Nigerian man broke my heart and what I learned from it. Yeah. So let me just give like a backstory. Growing up, I was always the type that thought, when I grew up, the person I was gonna, end up settling down with, being with, was either gonna be Hispanic or Asian. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Revelation, please stop looking at my feet. Thank you. But that was because growing up, I suffered a lot of hurt and trauma at the hands of Black men. And a lot of any bullying or malice I ever received in terms of my looks, because I am melanated, was always from Black men, not really often from like Black women or non-Black men. And so that kind of made me a little jaded, kind of made me a little, I guess, made me really tough and had like a hardened heart towards Black men. Not all, but it made me a little reserved and quiet whenever I was around Black guys. And so that, I want to say that played a part into the choice that I made with this particular time in my life with this person. So it wasn't really until late in my college years that I finally started being able to be more comfortable around Black men and being able to even speak a sentence or a few with Black men. Like, you can ask any of my friends, like, when it came to speaking to guys in general, I was really awkward, and I was like,
So you like milk? I don't know. Do you like oh you like to work out? Yeah, me too.
I don't know. Like, our conversation was not that great. Big part with me and um, with me dealing with my issues, which now I see that it's colorism issues, but I am working through that, and now I'm much better. I can talk to Black men now and not feel a sense of, oh my gosh, is he gonna say something on my skin? Is he gonna say something rude? Da, 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 da. But it's taken a long time to get here. When I tell you, this has been a work that has been done in me for majority of my 20s, but it's been going on since like middle school. But yeah, so that's one backstory, and the other backstory is, come a certain point in my life, you can only handle so much disappointment and so much rejection. And so growing up, I wasn't the girl that was always, picked by the guys, yada yada. But I wasn't the type that a lot of the guys went for. And now I look back at it as like a blessing in disguise. Because had I been, I probably would have went down a very sexual, promiscuous road. And me having a hard shell in that area, it kind of protected me as well. Because after I want to say like after 8th grade, yeah, after 8th grade, I was
like, yeah, I'm dead. I ain't talking to no more guys. I'm not. This relationship stuff is bird. This is for the birds. This relationship stuff is for the birds, y'all. Like.
So after that, I was like, I'm done, no more. So Thessalonian, no ma'am. So as I was saying before I got so rudely interrupted, so after 8th grade, I really stopped having crushes, really stopped talking to guys. Like I was like, even as friends, majority of my guy friends were usually gay. And if they were black, they were black and gay. They were not straight. I don't know. I just stopped. And so it wasn't until later in college that I really started opening myself back up. Basically, college is when I started liking guys again. So crazy. Liking guys again. Yeah. I'm heterosexual. I've always liked men. Disclaimer. Now we're in college. Not saying I'm talking to guys like I'm talking to all these guys and having all these relationships, because I was still very reserved. Like when it came to men, I wasn't talking to them in a romantical way to be anyone's girlfriend. Sure, there was guys here and there that I was like, oh, they're cool, I like them, but it never really went anywhere. But in college is where I really talked to more like guys in terms of friendships. Like had cool guy friends I consider friends, and I would be able to speak to them and not not be this weird, awkward, big deal type of thing. So that in itself was a big blessing. So I thank God for that. But so senior year, I don't know what it was about senior year. There was a lot of Nigerian men that started approaching me senior year of college, and it really wasn't anything I was checking for. Not in a good way to brag, but they weren't my type at all. Like a lot of them were like uncles, like really fobby, really uncles. Excuse me, please do not get them out of their fob. But they were given. They weren't, my cup of tea, and they were much, much older. And I was like, what the heck is on me? What am I attracted? Oh my God, like, what? It was so weird. Because when I tell you, it was like out of nowhere. It was very odd. But yeah, nothing really happened because, like I said, they weren't really my type. God bless them. I'm sure that there's somebody's type, but it just was not for me. So there was a guy who I saw around campus. I didn't necessarily know him. We never really spoke. He would hit me up every now and then on IG to like, oh, let's go work out, let's do this and that. Not this and that, anything crazy, like just platonic friendship type stuff. And so like I knew of him. We hung out once, yada yada. So, but it wasn't until after he had already graduated and I was in my final semester of my senior year, summer 2K19, where I guess we really started talking more on a romantical level, if you would say so. But to condense the whole situation, yes, you're really messing up my life. Anyway, so me and him reconnected after he had already graduated, and I was in my final semester of senior year. But mind you, up until that point, I had never really been in any serious relationships. I never even really spoken to guys like that. Like I've spoken to guys, and there was some that went somewhere, but not a lot, not in the bigger grand scheme of things. But like I didn't have enough background and or self-awareness to really know what I wanted in a guy in terms of like their soul, their personality, their spirit, like who they are as a person. Yeah, I was not even checking for none of that. I was just like, oh, a guy. But I was still very young. So this all happened around 22, 23. I'm 27 now. And so at that point in my life, one, I was really young, didn't really have that much experience even speaking to guys, to let alone understand what I wanted out of a guy. And then three, my head was not on correct. At that time, I was so very much in the world. I grew up Christian, but back then it would be lukewarm. I knew God, knew Jesus ish, but I did not have like a personal relationship with God to the point where even if he heard me, was trying to direct me elsewhere, I would have clearly heard him. So I was just kind of doing things to the beat of my own drum. It aided a lot in the decisions I made. So because I was like so young and didn't have clear direction or vision in terms of like what I really wanted from a guy, I definitely got my heart broken, and it hurt because he was the first guy I really like opened up to and allowed myself to be vulnerable for or vulnerable with. And had I had I can even say had I had godly counsel, because I had some friends who were also in the world, but they had enough gumption to kind of, they knew like a little bit of the situation and certain things I would tell them. They'll be
like that. Girl, no, that's not it. I don't. They were like, that's not him. They're like, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag.
and I'm just like, yeah, I'm talking about, it's like that show Love is Blind. Seriously, Love is Blind. And so it it kind of blew up in my face. But I learned from the situation. Yeah, it blew up in my face, but I definitely learned from the situation. And so now I'm going to share some of those things that I have learned. First thing that I learned in a minute after the whole situation kind of fell off was, before you can build intimacy with the man, you need to build intimacy with God. And that was one of the first things that God told me when I, was seeking him, because I was in such pain and such hurt from how it transpired and everything. I, was journaling one day. I have an app called Dailyo, and but I don't want to physically journal, I'll journal on my app. And I was just kind of, brain dumping, and I was typing something, and then out of nowhere, it was like boom, like literally, it's like I almost heard God clear as day, but it wasn't like an audible sound. It was like he spoke to my heart, like right to my spirit, and I could just feel exactly what he was saying. So it was like a wrecking ball. He was like, boom, trying to build intimacy with a man before you build intimacy with me. And the second he said that, I was like, whoop. Oh my gosh. Like I literally was like shook. I was so shocked. I couldn't even type anything more. That was probably the last thing I typed. I was just like, whoa. And I really reflected on that statement from that point on. I was like, dang, seriously, you're right. Like, had I took the time to first understand God for myself and walk with him and allow him to guide me in a way that I knew that he was guiding me. Like, God is always guiding me. He's always with us. Like, he's always guiding us, and he's always with us, right? But until we really understand him, we won't really know that he's 100% behind certain things and which things he's not behind. Like, you won't really know and you won't have clear direction. But once he said that, I was like, you're completely right, because had I had a really good and deep, meaningful relationship with him, he probably could have gave me warnings. He probably could have, or warnings, or he would have told me to handle certain conversations a different way. He definitely would have been at the heart of the whole thing. And there are certain things I probably would not have done with that situation if I had Christ at the center, right? Ladies, if you really want to understand men, you have to first understand God. Like, he made women and he made men, and he will understand. He understands men way more than we ever will understand men. Like, I'm still learning. Like, dudes are kind of tricky to figure out sometimes. But if you walk with the Lord, He'll show you. Okay, so that was the first thing I learned. Build intimacy with God first before you try to build intimacy with man. 2, don't ignore the rest. I'm kidding. No, seriously. Looking back at the situation years later, I'm like, whoa. There was a lot of red flags that I knew were there, but I ignored because I liked the guy so much, and I was willing to become somebody that I was not, just to keep that relationship. So, like, red flags, as in, if a dude is really interested, and you know what, I'm not gonna go too much detail in this because my next video is going to be about how you know if a guy is interested in you. But one of the red flags would be how guys act when they really are interested. When a guy's not interested in you, trust me, you'll know. It's like you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your spirit, and you'll have an inclination to ignore the red flags. That the red flags are there to tell you. It's like God's sign telling you, hey, you probably need to walk away, because his actions, his actions speak louder than words. One thing that I have been learning in my 20s, whether it's with friendships, relationships, family, coworkers, anything, actions speak louder than words. So you can have a guy and he can say the prettiest things. He can tell you everything you want to hear.
It would sound so good. It sounds so sweet. It'll be like nectar that you eat thing.
But when it comes time for him to really follow through on those words, if they don't do it, then they're not really that interested. Chances are there's either somebody else or you're probably on his rotation. Like, there's other girls and he's just keeping y'all circulated. So if a dude is really serious exclusively about you, you will know by their actions. What does the Bible say? You will know them by their fruits. And so now every guy, I be like looking at their fruit, quietly observing, just check mark or X, but you'll know them by how they act. So seriously, if for my young ladies out there, don't get too caught up in the words that a guy says, because that's kind of what got me, is that the things he was saying I hadn't really heard from any other guy. So I was like, oh my gosh, this must be the truth. Like, there's no way, there could be somebody else. Like, no, it's only me. Like, I don't know. You would think that everything they're saying is so true. Sometimes guys, they're very good at language. They're very good at maneuvering your words and making you feel a certain way, especially if they have a lot of experience dealing with women. They'll learn as they go. So they'll learn, oh, I need to say this, I need to do this. If I need to say this, I need to do this. They'll know. So young ladies out there, you'll know them by their actions. Like, don't even trip too much, because these guys will really, really get on your mental if you let them. But stay rooted. And then the last thing actually I want to say that I learned is to not compromise on your morals. this was so big. So prior to that, I was always a firm believer in no sex before marriage. So even though I knew better, because I was really trying to be who I thought he needed me to be, I folded on my morals and did certain things that now I wouldn't necessarily do unless we're married. So don't compromise on your morals. If you believe that you shouldn't drink, okay, don't let a guy tempt you into drinking. If you believe that if you want to save yourself from marriage, save yourself from marriage. Don't let a guy pressure you, or even not necessarily even pressure you, but don't let somebody change your perspective or mind if you're really rooted in that belief. Like, especially if it's biblical, like God's word is true, and if he says something in his word, then it's across the board for everybody, not just pick and choose. Pick and choose. If he says no sex before marriage, it's for women and for men. Like, he's not saying it because he knows sex sucks. No, God created sex and he knows how powerful and beautiful it is. But because it's so powerful, he wants it to be confined in a container, which is the jar of marriage. Basically, don't fold on your morals. Stay true to who you are, especially if you already have a good relationship with Christ. Let the Lord lead you. Let Holy Spirit literally navigate for you. He will tell you seriously, he will tell you if what a guy is saying is true or if it's a lie, because that's that discernment. Discernment comes from the Lord. So like right now, I've been talking to like a really great, amazing guy, and there are certain things that he says that Holy Spirit will confirm, like he's literally telling the truth, like what he's saying, like it's legit. So like the whole time I've been talking to him, God's really just been like giving me peace of mind, has been just really encouraging me and letting me basically what I should allow God to do with the previous situationship, God is doing now with this new guy, and it's been so great. He has saved me numerous times for making a fool of myself. He's told me, when you say this, maybe twist it, say it like this. Whenever I feel a type of way, he'll let me know why I'm feeling that way, and so that I can, fix the situation within myself before I can really, talk to him or talk to anybody else if I'm like in a bad mood or anything. But literally, it's been really great, y'all. So if you if you are wanting to have a deeper relationship with a guy, keep the Lord first. Like, keep the Lord first. Keep him at the heart, keep him at the center. He'll guide you because he wants to protect you. He cares about your heart, he cares about your emotions, he cares about your feelings, and he does not want any of his kids to be played and be looking like Louis the Fool out here, okay? So yeah, y'all, those are the 4 things that I've learned through heartbreak with a Nigerian man. I am going to take things as they come. I'm going to really allow the Lord lead me with any relationships and just take it one day at a time. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope I made sense, because like I said, this was a really nerve-wracking video for me to make. I didn't even go into full complete detail, but the time will come when God really allows me to share my full testimony. When I get the clearance to one day share my testimony, y'all probably get a more in-depth recollection of that period of my life. But until then, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the fam. Like I said, we're becoming the woman that God has created us to be. I love y'all so much. And don't forget to do one thing every day for the woman that you want to become. I love y'all. See y'all in my next video. Bye.